The Mondays family lived in a modest, bustling home filled with love and hope. Mr. Monday, a diligent businessman, has spent his years traveling across cities, dealing in building material to secure a bright future for his family. His wife Mary was the glue that held everything together, raising their three children, Obruchi, Ovoke, and Otega, with patience and care. The firstborn, Obruchi, was a brilliant young man, earning a first-class degree in banking and finance. His younger brother, Ovoke, was a talented mechanical engineer. Otega, the youngest and only daughter, was as ambitious as she was beautiful, determined to carve her own path despite the challenges that her family faced. But life took an unexpected turn when Mr. Monday passed away. The loss was a heavy blow to the family, leaving them strongly to pick up the pieces. Obruchi, unable to find a job that matched his qualification, became heartbroken. After a while, he got a job as a cashier in Mr. Agboro's company. He was later sacked after 3 years, and looking for a job became his job. Ovoke, unable to secure a job in his field, reluctantly took up teaching, but the meager pay left him barely able to contribute to the family's needs. The burden fell on their mother, who fought tirelessly to keep Otega in school. But even her efforts weren't enough, and Otega was forced to drop out during her second year at the university. Determined to make a way for herself, Otega found a job as a secretary at a transportation company owned by Mr. Michael. Her beauty and intelligence quickly caught her boss's attention. From the moment Otega handed in her employment letter, Mr. Michael knew she was someone special. This is the kind of secretary I need, he thought. Otega's job at the company wasn't easy. By day, she managed the busy office, and by night, she handled Mr. Michael's personal demands. His office, a luxurious sanctuary with beautiful furniture and an ever-stocked bar, was a place where he often kept her after office hours. Rumors about their relationship spread among the staff, but Mr. Michael dismissed them with a wave of his hand. One evening, Otega entered Mr. Michael's office, her face clouded with worry. "Baby girl," he called her affectionately. "What's wrong?" She hesitated, then spoke softly. "I want to go back to school, sir." Mr. Michael leaned back in his chair, studying her with a thoughtful smile. "You don't have to worry. Consider it done." Her relief was immediate and overwhelming. She threw her arms around him, her gratitude pouring out in an embrace. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir," she said. That night at home, Mr. Michael barely touched the fried rice, his favorite, his wife has lovingly prepared. His thoughts were consumed by Otega's decision to leave for school. 2 years without her. The idea was unbearable. Mrs. Michael noticed his unease. "You look worried," she said, sitting beside him, but he brushed off her concern with a cold reply, leaving her worried and hurt. The next day at the office, Mr. Michael called Otega into his office. "Baby girl," he said with his half smile, "you are really leaving me for school?" Otega smiled back, her voice calm and reassuring. "Don't worry, sir. I'll visit you often." She leaned forward and kissed his forehead, her touch soft but deliberate. "That's my girl," he said with a smile. Back at the Monday's family, Mrs. Mary, overjoyed at the news of Otega's return to school, "Thank God for Mr. Michael," she said, her heart full of gratitude. Little did she know the price her daughter was paying for the opportunity. The days ahead promised to bring more surprises, challenges, and secrets to the surface. The bonds of family love and loyalty would be tested in ways no one could predict. Otega's return to school marked the beginning of a new chapter, but it also brought complications. Mr. Michael followed through on his promise, paying her tuition and providing extra money for her upkeep. He insisted on meeting her regularly, sometimes on campus and other times at discreet locations. To the outside world, their arrangement seems professional, but Otega knew better. At home, her family saw her as a beacon of hope. Obruchi, though frustrated with his own lack of progress, took pride in his sister's achievement. Ovoke, despite his financial struggle, often encouraged her to stay focused on her studies. Mary, their mother, prayed daily, thanking God for the blessings they received through Mr. Michael. But Otega was worried. She loved her family and wanted to make them proud. Yet she couldn't shake the guilt that came with her secret. Mr. Michael's demand grew more controlling. He called her at odd hours, monitored her movements, and became visibly annoyed if she didn't respond immediately. One evening, after a long day of classes, Otega returned to her hostel to find an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a note: "Don't forget where your loyalty lies." Immediately she felt cold. She didn't need to guess who sent it. Meanwhile, back at the office, rumors about Mr. Michael and Otega's relationship began to intensify. Clara, one of the senior secretary, had always known Otega for receiving preferential treatment. She started digging for evidence to expose the affair, hoping to tarnish Otega's reputation and win Mr. Michael's favor. As Otega continued her studies, family responsibility, and Mr. Michael's demand, she began to feel the weight of her choices. During a rare moment of quiet, she confided in her best friend, Tasha, who was her roommate and a fellow student. "Tasha," Otega whispered one night, her voice trembling, "I think I have made a terrible mistake." "What's wrong?" Tasha asked, concern filling her eyes. Otega hesitated, then spilled everything: the secret relationship, the money, the power Mr. Michael had over her. Tasha listened in stunned silence before finally speaking. "You need to get out of this, Otega. No good will come out from it." "I can't," Otega replied, tears streaming down her face. "My family depends on me. If I lose Mr. Michael's support, we lose everything." Tasha held her friend tightly, her mind racing for a solution. "We'll figure something out," she said firmly. "But you can't keep living this way." The following week, things took a dramatic turn. Clara, the senior secretary, managed to record a private conversation between Mr. Michael and Otega. Armed with the evidence, she approached Mrs. Michael directly, setting off a chain of events that would shake the foundation of Mr. Michael's seemingly perfect life. Mrs. Michael, a sharp and composed woman, listened to Clara's accusation with a calm mind, but inside, her emotion raged. That night, she confronted her husband. "Michael," she said, her voice cold and steady, "is there something you want to tell me about your secretary?" Mr. Michael froze, his mind racing. "What are you talking about?" "I am talking about Clara. Don't lie to me." Realizing he was cornered, Mr. Michael tried to downplay the situation. "It's nothing. She's just a hardworking girl, and I wanted to help her." "Help her? Or help yourself?" Mrs. Michael shot back, her voice raising. The argument escalated, but it wasn't just for Mr. and Mrs. Michael, who were caught in the storm. Otega's life was about to unravel in ways she never imagined. Otega sat on her bed, staring at the note. She felt a storm of emotions: fear, anger, and exhaustion. She had been dragged into a mess she never intended, and it was beginning to suffocate her. Tasha sat beside her, her expression serious. "You don't have to go," Tasha said. "He's manipulating you. You owe him nothing." "But what if this is my way out?" Otega replied softly. "I don't want to live like this anymore. Maybe if I face him, I can finally put an end to all this." The next evening, Otega went to Mr. Michael's office, her heart pounding with every step. When she walked in, he was sitting behind his desk, his face a mist of frustration and desperation. "Close the door," he said, motioning forward the chair in front of him. She obeyed, her nerves on edge. "I know things have gotten complicated," he began. his voice low. "But I never meant to hurt you, Otega, or my family." Otega raised her chin, summoning courage she didn't know she had. "Then why are we here, sir? What do you want from me?" "I want you to stay," he admitted, his voice almost pleading. "But I also know that's selfish. You deserve to live your life, to finish your education, without me holding you back." Otega blinked in surprise. She hadn't expected him to admit his fault. "Then let me go," she said firmly. "Support my education if you want to, but I won't keep living this lie. I can't." Mr. Michael sighed, rubbing his head. For a moment he looked tired and defeated. Then he nodded. "You are right. I make sure you finish your studies. But you are done. You don't owe me anything anymore." Relief washed over Otega like a tidal wave. She stood up, her voice steady. "Thank you, sir, for everything." She turned and walked out, feeling lighter than she had in months. Back home, things were unrevealing for Mr. Michael. His wife, armed with the photos from the private investigator, had given him an ultimatum. He needed to fix his mistake or risk losing his family. Mr. Michael chose his family. He apologized to his wife, Michael owning up to his actions and promising to rebuild their trust. Mrs. Michael, though hurt, saw the sincerity in his eyes and agreed to give their marriage another chance. "But if you ever betray me again, Michael, I am gone," she warned. At the company, Mr. Michael took drastic measures to repair his reputation. He issued a public apology to his staff, making it clear that any favoritism in the office would end immediately. Clara's firing remained in effect, but he ensured that no one else would face undue consequences because of his actions. For Otega, the next few months were a whirlwind of change. With Mr. Michael's financial support, she was able to focus entirely on her studies. Her grades improved and she began to regain the confidence she had lost. The rumors about her relationship with Mr. Otega eventually faded, thanks in part to Tasha's unwavering support and Otega's resilience. At home, her family remained unaware of the full truth, but they noticed a difference in Otega. She was happier, more determined, and more hopeful about the future. Her mother often spoke of how proud she was, and even Obruchenavoke seems inspired by her progress. 2 years after, Otega graduated with honors. Her dream finally realized. On her graduation day, she stood on the podium, looking out at the crowd. Her mother's beaming face stood out among them, her pride shining brighter than the sun. As she gave her speech, Otega felt a surge of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. It has been messy, painful, and filled with lessons she would never forget, but it has also made her stronger. That evening, as she sat with her family celebrating her achievement, Otega made a silent vow. She would use her success to uplift others, just as she has been uplifted. The mistakes of the past would not define her. And as for Mr. Michael and his wife, their marriage survived the storm. They made stronger, having learned the value of honesty and commitment. Otega's story was far from above, but this chapter has ended in her favor. Her future was bright, her family was proud, and for the first time in a long while, she felt free. This story is very interesting. Now tell me, if you were Mrs. Michael, would you have investigated the matter as she did, or what would you have done? Kindly drop your opinion in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to support my channel. Like my video, share to family and friends, and please don't forget to turn on the notification bell to keep you informed whenever I upload other videos. Thank you. See you in my next episode. Bye for now.